Hi guys, this is Zach from Watches on You, and today I'm going to be taking a look at the fabulous Rolex Milgauss. Now, the Milgauss is Rolex's really kind of scientific, magnetic resistant piece in their collection, and it achieves that by actually having a case around the movement, also known as a Faraday cage. And what that does is that actually has it's made out of a special metal that blocks the effects of magnetism up to a certain amount, of course. And the reason that this would be very useful in real life is that if you're working in a lab kind of setting and you're working with around magnetism, you're likely to get your watch to become magnetized, and what happens then is that makes the hairspring magnetized, and it dramatically affects the accuracy of your watch. So if you're working around magnetism, you'll for sure need some kind of way. You'll need a watch that has some kind of way of blocking magnetism, whatever that may be. Another watch that does this is the Omega Aquaterra, and that actually achieves it by making many important accuracy kind of regulating parts out of more special metals, or making them silicone-based, which will not be affected by magnetism. So now I'm going to go on to the overall case aesthetics. Now, the case is a 40mm stainless steel case, and it is finished absolutely spectacularly. You can see that it has beautiful polished sides, and as well as polished tops of the lugs, and then stainless steel on the outer edges of the bracelet, and then a polished link in the center. That polish is a clean mirror, and this is actually a pre-owned watch, so you can really see, I mean, the mirror does kind of stay around for a while. It's pretty durable. Doesn't get scratched up that easily. So now I'm going to move on to the dial. Now the dial, as you can see, it is kind of almost a British racing green color, and actually some of that tone comes from the green tinted sapphire that is on this piece. You can actually get it in non-green tinted sapphire as well with certain dial combinations, but I like this as it's really the only watch that I know of that has a tinted crystal, and you can see that on the edges right there. It is green actually instead of just being straight clear. So that just provides a very kind of unique aspect, and you can really see that line around the dial from if you're looking at this watch straight on, and I actually really like that. Some people don't, but I do like it. So going back to the dial, you can see that the indicators at 3, 6, and 9 all are kind of a shade of orange, and that's to match up with the indicators going around the edge of the dial, which at increments of 5 for the minutes or seconds, whichever you'd prefer to say. And then also as well as the orange second hand and the orange Milgauss logo on the dial. Now, I love also how this watch doesn't have a date. I love just simple hour, minute, second watches, as the date sometimes crowds around, and typically in everyday life you're usually going to be able to remember the date, or we all have cell phones, so you could just look up on there. I know watches, I know your cell phone can keep the time, and so they've become more of a style aspect, and really everyone has a cell phone to check the date if they really need to. But another reason I really just love the no date style, because it keeps the dial perfectly symmetrical, and I think it provides a much cleaner look. Okay, so now let's move on to a wrist shot. So this watch on the wrist, I mean, it is extremely comfortable, as all Rolex watches are, and you can see though that this watch is a bit, chunky in size. You can see that it is fairly thick, so wearing this suit may be a little bit of an issue with it getting caught on your shirt, but stylistically this watch is absolutely perfect. Very, very classy and elegant look. I mean, really all Rolexes are like that. And also the bracelet's extremely comfortable. It's your classic oyster bracelet with a polished center link, steel outer links, brushed steel outer links. And it's just very, very comfortable. It's about the perfect thickness, pretty thin, but again, it still feels nice and hefty. Definitely it's not gonna break at all. It feels very, very nice. The clasp is nice as well. You can see it's nice, kind of solid bar clasp instead of pressed metal. Old vintage Rolexes use pressed metal. This is obviously up to a whole different level of quality. It's absolutely fantastic. I mean, Rolex is really the best for sure at what they do in the sports watch market. I mean, you can't really beat them. They have it down to a T finishing wise. So again, on the wrist, I have around a 7-inch wrist, just for reference there, and I'd say that 40mm size is absolutely perfect. I love that size for a sports watch. I think it looks great. I don't think you can really get any better than that except some watches I actually do prefer a little bit smaller, around a 38mm. That's about my range of, I'd say, perfect for a sports watch. So now let's take this watch off here. So this watch is, I mean, it's an absolutely fantastic piece, and JB Hudson Jewelers lent this piece to us for a review, and it is for sale there, so if you're interested, please contact them. And this watch, though, I mean, it's a lot more unique than a lot of sports watches in this range. You get the magnetic aspect to it. You also get the beautiful green tinted sapphire, which I like a lot. The orange markings on the dial, again, provide a little bit brighter of a look to it as well. So overall, I just really like how this piece looks. And this is probably one of the lesser popular Rolex models, especially brand new. So again, you're going to be able to have something different than most people out there. So that's, again, why I like this piece so much. So thank you for watching this video. Remember to like, subscribe, and share. Thank you.